Salutations!
Welcome to the Film Mages Podcast, where the popcorn is our ammunition, the couch is our foxhole, and the cinema is our place of worship.
Now let me see your war face! Ah!
Alexis Helvetia.
Helvetia?
Helvetia.
Oh, Helvetia.
Like Elvis?
Yeah.
Like if it was Elvis? Alexis Helvetia.
What?
Like your last name, but if it was Elvis.
Why do we need that?
Welcome to the Film Majors, everybody.
Are we recording?
I'm proud of my Mexican heritage, okay? I'm keeping my name.
But I'm trying to make it more Elvis for the episode.
I mean, I'm probably the biggest Elvis fan here. I don't even know if you want that.
Yeah.
You know, no, I don't.
You don't want a little more Elvis? You don't want a little more Elvis in your life?
I mean,
She wants a little bit more Elvis
in
than
my
me.
life.
Okay, alright. Hey everybody, that's a little...
Hello. We're back, folks. Hi.
Welcome to the Film Majors,
How we
everybody.
doing?
I'm Zach.
I'm Nick.
I'm Alexis.
Helvetia.
Helvetia.
I was trying something new, and you know, it doesn't always work out. And it doesn't always have to work out. But you know what does always work out?
What's going on?
Yeah. So, you know, last time you heard from us, I think I was either just getting over being sick or was sick, and now I'm sick again.
How about that?
Yeah.
Wow.
On my last day back home in Oregon for Thanksgiving, I woke up and I thought that I was super hungover, and you know I was. But apparently I was also sick because that horrible feeling, it didn't go away. It stuck around.
Well, the continuous drinking between then and now has not helped.
There has been none. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. But
You know what's genuinely upsetting?
What?
Eating while you're talking on the podcast, because I agree.
yeah, that is upsetting.
You know what's really not great to listen to? Cookies.
Take a pause.
You're wheezing.
And eating.
Oh. So what's
You know what's worse? Is listening to you guys fucking rail on me and make the same fucking noises. And it's worse because it's you guys. You make ugly fucking noises.
She's not wrong.
Yeah,
I
no,
can't refute that.
your chewing noises are so pleasant.
They are in comparison.
All right, and everybody reach out to us at filmmagerspod@gmail.com. Tell us who you think has the most pleasant chewing noises.
Let's vote to it. Who has the most pleasurable film major mastication?
Yeah, we'll put a poll up on the Instagram, on the Twitter. We'll get to the bottom
We'll call
of
it
it.
the mastication station.
Yeah.
The mastication station?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
God, I kicked off what's going
Can
on
we
way too
trademark that?
early.
Yeah, you kicked off.
Actually, can we just call that our December? We were trying to think of what we're going to call our holiday season special. I think the
Yeah, the Polar
Station
Express
is
to
good.
the mastication station.
Yeah, there we go.
No.
I love that.
No.
What?
I love that.
Oh,
Polar
that's
Express.
not
God.
You know, I worked with an actress who was one of the voice actors in that movie, and she sounds like she played one of the little girls or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she was older; she's like in her mid-20s, and she sounded the exact same.
Did she
Really?
voice the little girl who's like, I'm wishing... Wait, no, that's the little boy.
Yeah, it was
But
him.
the little girl comes and sings with
Yeah,
him.
she's the girl who sings with that little boy.
Yeah.
I don't know. She showed me a picture of this
The
CGI
best time
cursed
of the
character she
year.
voiced. I was like, oh, that's great. That's cool.
Sure. Someone. It's hard
That's not
to
the-
be
that's not the note.
alone.
That's also not the lyric.
Bringing out the Christmas tree and the friends who are around. It's so much fun when Christmas comes to town.
Oh, beautiful.
Zach, what the fuck? You know what? You guys are dicks.
I think we did
Why,
good.
why did you
I'm
loop
proud
me
of
in
you.
that?
Okay, you know why? Because when it's fucking Blazing Saddles, you guys are like, oh, don't worry. We have to do this perfectly and in sync. But when it's the Polar Express, a Christmas classic, Zach has to be like,
Hold on.
Wait.
Well,
A
for one
Christmas
thing,
classic.
I am once again
It's a good book.
dying of the black lung. I'm the Tiny Tim. And for another thing, what the fuck on the Polar Express being a Christmas classic?
Yeah, isolate that
That
audio.
is one of the rare movies, much like the film we're talking about today, that I would be consider to be films directed by the devil himself.
Hot chocolate.
Both featuring Tom Hanks.
That's right. Show business.
Yeah, whenever
man.
Tom Hanks shows up doing snow business, you know you're in for something fucking sinister.
Yo, for real, traumatizing. But actually, I do like the Polar Express. Really? I cry every single time they sing that Christmas song. I cry.
Caribou.
Yeah, because he's never gotten a present before, and he's all sad.
Yeah, but look at him. He's this weird CGI character. Who would give him a Christmas present? It's cursed. It's cursed. Nothing but coal in your
You're
stocking.
classist, Mick. You're classist.
No, I'm not classist.
Yes, you are. You said, look at him, and he looks poor.
No, he
How
doesn't
dare
look
you?
poor. He looks like a plastic CGI character.
Yeah, none of those kids deserve presents.
Yeah, thank
Not
you, sir.
one.
Wow.
Trying to hit me with a classism? Really? This early in the day? Wait till 6 p.m. at least.
I brought you all coffee. I can say whatever I want.
That's true. You do
Yeah,
own
she's
us.
right.
Yeah.
She's right.
Big roller, big
I
spender,
put my big
Alexis.
schlong on the table with the coffee.
And it's delicious.
The coffee?
The coffee.
The coffee.
Yeah.
Um,
The coffee.
so I've got something going on.
What's going on?
That's not the music.
No, that's my music.
Okay, great.
I'm furious. I'm
Okay.
worked up.
About?
DreamWorks. DreamWorks is the latest film production company to absolutely desecrate their logo and turn it into some, like, disgusting montage of IP. We all know and love the DreamWorks logo. It's the little boy sitting on the moon. Yeah, exactly. Production company started by Mr. Steven Spielberg, Mr. Movies himself. And it's nice, it's simple, and, it evokes a certain level of wonder. Now, in the latest one, the DreamWorks boy comes out as, like, a silhouette coming out of the moon, riding on, like, a glowing second moon, past a montage of, like, all of the animated characters from DreamWorks movies.
Wait, hold
ending.
on. 1 second. Does this play in front of a DreamWorks film that's animated or non-animated?
I think regardless.
Well, that's a weird choice.
I mean, I don't think DreamWorks really produces non-animated films
They
at this
used to.
point. Yeah, no, I don't think they do.
I just don't understand, like, what is the point of rebranding in that way when it's just like, all you have to do is make a good movie and you're relevant again. Stop trying to just rebrand your fucking image.
Yeah, but that's hard. You have to do something.
Yeah, you have to clean it up. Like look at Universal.
Disgusting and cursed that just depresses the shit out of you.
Oh, Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, no.
I always liked the
baby.
very simple kind of, thing
Yeah, it's
that
beautiful.
DreamWorks did. And also Disney, for the longest time, they just had the fucking blue screen with the castle, and then it's like...
I will admit, though, I do like the new Disney, where you see the train coming, and then you got the little boat.
It's excessive. Yeah. The only logo that I feel like has stayed fairly solid throughout every iteration, I think Warner Bros. Warner Bros.'s logo, maybe it's just hard to fuck up.
Yeah.
I always
it's
like
just,
the Universal one.
The Universal one.
And that's one that changes. They just clean it up. It's the same thing. You see
I
the
do
world.
prefer the old Universal logo, but those two, I think maybe it's just like shape and a sky of some sort.
Yeah.
That's hard to fuck up.
Maybe.
My favorite for the longest time was Fox, because that's the company that did Anastasia back in the 90s. And it's just that dun 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 dun. I'm so close to committing a felony in this apartment when you do things like that to
Ooh, which
me.
one?
Yeah, there's a lot of felonies.
There's a lot of felonies. I can pick at least two that I'd like to try out.
Do share.
No, that's okay.
No.
You know what else is going on?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I saw a few new films. When I was back in Oregon, I watched Confess Fletch and See How They Run.
Nice.
And just last night, I watched Glass Onion, which is Rian Johnson's follow-up.
How was that?
Crushed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, which is Rian Johnson's follow-up to Knives Out. So all three of those were whodunits. I would say that of all of those, I probably enjoyed Glass Onion the most, although I did also really like Confess Fletch. I feel like that was a movie that should have had a bigger rollout. I feel like John Hamm is a guy who should have had a bigger movie star career.
Absolutely.
He's so charismatic, and he's very good in Confess Fletch.
Yeah.
And yeah, Glass Onion, I feel like I enjoyed about as much as Knives Out, which means I enjoyed it less than a lot of people, but still thought it was very fun.
Okay.
I think it's somewhat less of a compelling mystery than the first Knives Out, or than Knives Out. But I feel like, I don't know, it's weird to... I don't like how it's like Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. I don't like the naming convention. It fucks me up. But I think that the social satire stuff, which I found to be kind of cringe-inducing in Knives Out, works mostly better in Glass Onion. Without spoiling too much, you could not have put this movie out at a better time, given certain current goings-on with some very wealthy people.
Interesting. Because, I mean, I really like Knives Out. I thought it was, I wouldn't say maybe the perfect movie for the time it came out. I will agree it was very on the nose with its political, social commentary, but I, again, on a rewatch, when you remember the climate that it was in, which was at the height of the Trump era, I thought it really had the perfect message to it, and I thought they handled it really well. When you end with the immigrant family or immigrant character who's now on top of the world, basically, this entire estate looking down at all of these people who always look down on her. I loved that. I thought that was a beautiful, nice bow tie at the end. But we talked about that, Alexis, how that, when it comes to social movies, can be an issue. If you basically just have it end on a good note. If it's just like a gift that's all tied up and wrapped for you, then it doesn't really spur on any social action.
Yeah, but
from the audience.
I don't think that that's specifically like Knives Out, because Knives Out at its core is like a thriller mystery Agatha Christie kind of thing, You're
saying it's not setting out to,
it wasn't
light
setting
any
out
fires.
to light any fires necessarily, but I think that what it did include, like as far as like its social commentary goes, I think it was done really well, and it didn't feel as on the nose as it obviously like kind of was,
Yeah.
It felt really natural, and I think that's a testament to both a good screenplay as well as the actors themselves.
Powerhouse performances.
Yeah, I mean Michael Shannon, so good. But no, what I was specifically talking about was like, like movies like The Hunger Games, or like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, that old movie we watched in film school, where it's like it's clear that the it's supposed to kind of like incite you to feel something about the systems that we're all stuck in. But of course, because each movie ends on a positive note of the characters winning, we get this catharsis ourselves of like, oh, it's resolved, and we feel that kind of like joy and stuff like. And so basically, it doesn't spurn us on,
right?
Because all of that was bookended for us.
It's finalized.
Yeah.
And this is why the best movie to come out in the past like 20 years about like revolutionary social issues is Sorry to Bother You. Oh man, I do love Spotlight.
I thought you were going to say Spotlight.
Because it was kids. I can't do it again. I
was
cannot do
gonna
it
say,
again on this episode.
I do agree though, because I do really like, because Spotlight obviously it doesn't just end as like, oh, we won because we, rocked this fucking story.
Right.
I think that's probably what she said, and like Spotlight have also in a difference, like I talked about last time. It's just the fact that like she said gets to bookend on like this fucking piece of shit is in prison now. Whereas in Spotlight, it's like that fucking cardinal got moved to basically the fucking Vatican. And so, like, who knows if he ever got punished, and also, here's all the fucking towns that this type of stuff has occurred in, and there's, like, hundreds of fucking towns. So it doesn't leave you on the note of feeling like, oh, this is finished, and we all can go to bed now. It's, no, this is clearly still an ongoing problem.
Well, that's why I liked
I'm
Black
so glad
Klansman.
that we've come back to Spotlight.
Once again,
Zach, we share this.
Let's go.
we were talking about something where, like, rarely does end credit sequences ever make you cry. We watched something. I don't remember what it was, but, like, I started to, like, tear up at the end credit sequence. And I was trying to think of another movie that actually did that, and I could only think of Black Klansman. Now, that's a movie that kind of ends on a good note, like the heroes win the day.
Yeah.
That's kind of gift-wrapped. But that is, I think, a social film that does end with pretty much, just news footage and documentary footage at the very end that makes you go, oh, no, that's right.
Yeah.
We're still dealing with this right now.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of like, I think someone said the best horror films leave you feeling empty inside.
Yeah, leave you with a sense of dread.
Exactly. And I think you could say the same about movies about social issues. Tries to spur you on instead of saying, and the heroes win, and now you can go home feeling good about yourself that your heroes did the right thing.
Yeah.
That's great. Cool.
Great.
So I'll have to watch Glass Onion. I want to watch that. I haven't seen any of the movies you just mentioned.
Wonderful. Yeah, don't watch See How They Run. It sucks.
Oh, that's too bad. I love Sam Rockwell.
Sad.
It's spellbinding misuse of Sam Rockwell.
Ooh.
Tragic.
Yeah, brutal stuff.
Super sad. You know what I watched for the first time?
What'd you watch,
over the
Alexis?
holidays? When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, yay! It's
Nice.
Nora season.
Nora Ephron, baby.
I love her. That's definitely because, I grew up watching a lot of romantic comedies as a kid. That's definitely one of my dad's, favorite movies, but I'd somehow, never seen it. I was blasted off in awe of her fucking cum scene in the middle
fake
of the
orgasm.
rest of the
Oh
fake
my
orgasm.
God, yeah.
That shit was so funny.
There's a great story behind that. So obviously a lot of people know that the woman who says, I'll have a she's having, is Rob Reiner's mother, who is the director of the film.
Yep.
Something that a lot of people don't know, I think Billy Crystal said this in an interview, was when they first set everything up, Meg Ryan was feeling a little timid, a little uncomfortable to do this in front of everybody. So to make it better, Rob Reiner goes, oh, no, just do it like this, and has a full-on orgasm across the table from Billy Crystal. Billy Crystal's having a great time with it. And then Billy Crystal walks away, and Rob Reiner, red in the face, goes up to Billy and goes, Billy, he goes, what? He's like, I think I just had a full-on orgasm in front of my mother. Because she was sitting in the back.
No, my favorite part of what you told me was that, I don't remember who it was, maybe it was Nora Ephron, who was in the theater and so seeing kind of how it was playing with audiences and stuff, and during that scene, all of the women laughed and none of the men laughed.
Dead silence
Dead
from the men.
silence from the men.
And that's how she knew she got the scene right.
Yeah. And can you imagine also from this perspective of the 90s men, how that must have felt? Because nowadays I think we all, at least our mostly non-toxic men can all agree that, a woman's orgasm is a complex thing sometimes, I don't think the men in the 90s were feeling that.
Nah. Yeah.
But it was really great. I endeavor to be a fashion icon as Billy Crystal was in that movie.
Oh my
I
God,
want to start
the
dressing like
sweaters.
her.
Yeah, no.
Sweaters, the blue jeans, the white sneakers.
Yeah, the amount of times that Billy Crystal would be on screen and would be like, I think you look really good in that. And I'd
not Meg
look.
Ryan's outfit, Billy
I'd
Crystal's.
look and I'd be like, oh my God, you're so right.
There's a man staring at you in personal growth. I don't want to talk about it too much, just because we would like to cover this in February.
Yeah.
For specific reasons.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have a whole episode dedicated to
It
When
is a
Harry Met
really
Sally.
good script. I watching
it's
it.
such
I
a
was like,
great
wow, that was
script.
so solid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then we watched the Chernobyl miniseries. Well, I watched
Again.
it for the third time, I guess,
Yeah.
is what we would say.
Great
Love that
miniseries.
series.
Check
Love
it out.
that series.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We watched a bunch of stuff. Well, we finally we'll keep this brief, I think, because we covered it briefly in the podcast earlier, but we saw Tar.
Oh, we did.
Yeah,
we
finally.
saw Tar.
Yeah,
with
what
Kate
do you guys
Blanchett.
think?
I talked to Zach about this already. You give him your things.
Well, I've talked about it too, but this is for the audience, not for him.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, no, I
got you,
acting-
audience.
I'm acting like it's for me, but it's
Yeah.
not for me.
I mean, I agreed with Zach that I think that Kate Blanchett's performance is really good. I loved her physicality. I'm not sure if maybe she had like a movement coach or anything like that, or if she just like studied quite a bit the movements of like conductors. But I really, really, really loved the way that she held herself, and I can't remember what this was in regards to, but you know, there's this beginning scene where she talks about like don't throw away an artist or like, you know, somebody who's come before just because you don't agree with like their politics or how they live their life. And I really liked that conversation that she had because it kind of set up her downfall essentially. And yeah, I mean, it made me think to myself, like, how far do we allow ourselves to go separating the art from the artist?
Right.
Yeah, so I liked the movie. I thought it was a little too long for sure, but
I agree.
The suspense, the sound design, sound mixing was all really good.
Yeah.
So, and Kate Blanchett was really good, so.
If you appreciate classical music, you should definitely check it out. There's so much great music in it. There's so many great sequences. I agree with you, what you're saying in regards to, I don't know, like just how they kind of talk about, they ask some interesting questions, and, you know, they don't exactly answer anything definitively. That's for the audience to decide. But yeah, this movie, I think the main triumph of it for me was I have always been like, what the fuck does a maestro even do? God, they just swing a baton and then they bow and
Really?
they take credit for everything. But
You
this movie
thought
was
that?
yeah.
Oh.
This movie actually got really close to like really showing me no. You need them. They set the time. And
They also interpret the the
See, I didn't know. I thought they were just
Yeah.
lollygagging
Sorry,
about.
Yeah, they're
'cause
flinging the stick around.
Since well, I did you know, jazz band in middle school, but then I also did opera later on.
Sing my angel.
Yeah.
Sing my angel of music.
Ooh, I watched Phantom of the Paradise.
I don't know what that is.
Me neither.
It's Brian De Palma's weird 70s interpretation of both Faust and The Phantom of the Opera. It's crazy.
Interesting.
Very fun
Interesting.
watch. Check it out sometime.
By Brian.
Isn't
De
Brian De Palma the really horny director?
Yes.
Oh, you betcha.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, I'll put that on my list then.
Checkbox.
That's all I needed
That's
to
all
hear.
she needs.
Fuck, I lost my train of thought. What was I
Sorry, you were
thinking?
talking about doing opera.
did jazz.
Oh yeah,
band.
jazz band. Yeah, I was talking about how I was a fucking nerd back in the day.
Boy, 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 boy.
But yeah, no, I used to do opera, so I mean, it was very, very, very like you need somebody there, especially like I don't know. I need to see the hand. I need to see the hand,
Well, folks, you're here to hear first. She needs to see the hand.
and I
Show
need to
her
see
the
it
hand.
moving up
She
and
needs to see
down.
it moving up and down. All right.
Moving on.
Yeah, but no, honestly, I know we disagreed about this, Zach. You said that you thought, I think we both agreed about 20 minutes could be shaved off. You thought it could have been in the beginning.
Absolutely.
I thought it could have been in the end. The lecture with I think it was the New Yorker in the beginning of the film.
Yes.
I absolutely loved it. Because it felt like I was in an actual lecture. Like, even I looked over, you're in a theater, and it felt like we were there attending this lecture. I thought it was so fascinating. I thought her lecture to her students was so fascinating.
I thought that those long conversations, and I did feel that they were long, so I probably don't agree as much with Mick that you couldn't shave anything down in the beginning. But I do think that it really helped to like characterize how she feels superior. From her position as like a woman in music, essentially. And then also how in many ways, just because you occupy a space that is other than white men, you still are occupying a space that is whatchamacallit,
Within a patriarchal system?
kind of. Well,
Privileged?
because she's a U-Haul lesbian, but she's a white, like,
Love that
upper
line.
class U-Haul lesbian, you know?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So I like
She's
the
out
movie
of
because
touch.
it's, she's out of touch. I like the movie because, obviously sexual harassment doesn't just come from men, and we don't there's probably not that many movies where like you really see that happen, and I really felt like
It's more
that
about
came
the
across.
position of authority.
Yeah, I mean, I also think, we wouldn't be as willing to see the complexity of, like, losing Tar as an artist
Yeah.
if she was a white guy,
Oh yeah, of course not.
because it's kind of too close to home.
Well, I mean, at that
we
point,
see
I'm
that
like,
more.
well, why do I fucking care
Yeah,
about him?
there will
exactly.
be another.
Yeah.
There's another one. There's
Yeah.
another one
not
somewhere.
Not that I really cared for her by halfway through the movie, because I was like, oh no.
Yeah,
She's
it's-
bold. Like, there were many times where I was like actually taken aback by how blatantly obvious she was about like pursuing women.
Yeah.
I would
it's-
just like kept turning to Megan with my jaw drop, being like, "Did you see that?"
Yeah, it's interesting that, she talks about how it's important to look. I mean, you can have your stance. This is her saying, you can have your stance however you want, feel however you want. That's for you to decide. But don't completely cut an artist's work out if you haven't even experienced it. Like, expose yourself to it, and then you can make your choice. Because what composer was she talking
Bach.
about? It was Bach that had a lot of
like
affairs,
17
children or
like
something,
that,
and
yeah.
someone said that part of
I
the
think
reason
he also
He was a
owned slaves.
misogynist. Yeah.
misogynist. That's
Yeah.
part of the reason why I don't like him. And Kate Blanchett's character said, well, I don't see how his track record in bed should have any bearing on his work, which is unique for her to say, because that's almost entirely her, spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
It's kind of what the whole fucking movie's about.
Yeah, it's kind of her
Yeah.
downfall. And it's also interesting how, this is a person who, in order to feel anything, just has to, be around music and create music and compose it.
Yeah.
And yet she calls everyone else robots, which is interesting. I don't know. I thought it was a great
there's
character.
Many times where she calls somebody something like a traitor or a robot,
Yeah.
and it's clear that she just can't see herself in any way.
Yeah, no self-awareness.
Yeah, no self-awareness, really.
And Zach, I agree with you. I think she could be a shoo-in for Best Actress. For
Oh,
the
she's
Academy.
winning. She's
and I think
winning
it's
for
even
sure.
better
I
than
wonder-
Blue Jasmine.
I wonder if, like, that is a trait of, like, abusive people, to, like, have no self-awareness of how they are hurting people, or to, like, maybe be in denial of that, of having self-awareness.
Oh, I'm sure.
That puts them in a
Yeah.
place where they can actually do these things to people. But I really liked how her guilt over the woman, what was her name, Christy or something like that?
It's been a little while. I'm
Kristen.
not going to remember.
It was something like that. I like how her guilt manifested in, like, a way that made the movie almost seem like a thriller at parts, because you weren't quite sure
Yeah.
where these noises were coming from.
Yeah. There was a hot second I thought she was maybe like schizophrenic or something, because
was
she
just
kept
hearing
hearing
these-
these
yeah.
strange noises.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Good film. Check it out. It's a bit long, so be caffeinated before you go see it, but it is worth
It
checking
is.
out.
It is very long. We went in at like midday, and we came out and we were like, oh, it's night and it's fucking freezing. What happened?
So, to be the maestro of this podcast and to keep the time, we're almost 30 minutes in. I think we should probably get out of what's going on.
Okay, wait.
I think
have-
we should probably get out of it.
What is it?
Okay.
Oh, wait, look. What
No,
is it?
it's fine. I mean,
Is
can
it
I
the
have like
thing?
5 minutes?
You can have 2.
Oh, thanks.
Jeez.
We
Oh, come
watched-
on. 35 minutes, Zach.
We watched Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon. Me and Nick watched it.
And we still watched it in November, so it's still Period Piece
Yeah, it was
Palooza.
still Period Piece Palooza. I really fucking liked that movie.
Great
I
film.
didn't think that it would be that great, because we were starting off and I was like, oh gosh, this is going to be another slow, dry period piece movie. And then that shit got spicy almost
Yeah.
immediately.
Well-
And to be fair, I mean, I honestly have not seen that many Kubrick movies, so
Mm-hmm.
like every time I watch something new from him, I'm like, oh wow, he's actually really good.
This Stanley
Yeah.
Kubrick guy, he knows
He
how to
really
make a movie.
gets
He's
it.
the next big thing.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, no, just like his wide shots are
Oh my God.
gorgeous. The way that he blocks
It's-
everyone out is, yeah.
I think it might be one of the most beautiful films. Like, I genuinely think that. It's not shiny and glitzy. It's just... it's just so competent. Everything just looked so thought out to a T, which I'm sure was infuriating, but creating it. Because I hear he was not a great person to work with, but please check it out.
It was V spicy.
It's spicy, but it's also dastardly. I mean, I saw this for the first time when I was probably like 9 years old. Only saw it once, and I really didn't like it as a kid. Not because it was slow, but because
the protagonist
freaked me out.
Is a little unlikable.
Yeah, Barry Lyndon. But that's a thing. On a rewatch, I saw more humanity within him because of a very important third act event.
Yeah.
But that makes him a more compelling character. That you see, there is some humanity within him. So then, what the fuck? How can you be like this to everybody else?
I'm not sure that I necessarily agree with that, but I was interested in the story from about like 10 to 15 minutes in until the end. I was in it to win it.
You didn't agree with that because of what
No, and I have complicated feelings about men who are good to their children but not good to anybody else. So I don't. Yeah, whatever. I don't need to talk on it, but I do want to just mention that I connected one of my favorite animated films from childhood to Period Piece Palooza and Barry Lyndon.
Oh yeah, this thing we did.
There's something that happens in Barry Lyndon that I was like, oh, there is literally that exact imagery in this 75-minute movie, an hour and 15-minute animated film from the 90s called Balto. And I and I told Mick too, I was like, hey man, just so you know, Kevin Bacon is the voice of Balto, so you can add this to your bacon bits list.
Yeah, I think you called it my arsenal of bacon bits or something like that. Yeah.
Bob Hoskins from Who Framed Roger Rabbit also does a voice in there, and Phil Collins is also does a voice.
Phil Collins, I'm still...
It's Muck and Luck.
So strange.
Some polar bears. Zach is so confused.
Anyways, yeah.
Remember when I was like, hey, let's keep time?
Hey, you're supposed to be the maestro.
Yeah,
Let me see the hand moving up and down.
Here it goes. Hand is going up and down. Let's get out of what's going on.
You know, as a maestro, you could be like, you guys have 5 more seconds, you know?
Well, okay, there we go. We're done.
Great.
Let's get to our big topic.
The worst.
You know what though? Okay, this isn't our fault. You guys fucked around with the what's going on at the beginning for like a good 3 minutes. There's no talking.
I have no retort to that. She's
right.
right.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
She's right?
She's right.
I hate you guys.
And that's our segue.
Into our big topic, which last time we did this episode.
Yeah, let's give some context here.
Yeah, so this was our last episode. So do we want to just stick with the big topic we did last time?
What was the big topic last time?
It was directors who grind our gears.
Oh. I guess so.
Sure.
I guess so. Oh, because I do actually. Well, I mean, do you have a different big topic that could go well?
I don't have one off the top of my head.
Let's just stick to it then.
All right, Alexis, you seemed like you had something.
Oh, immediately Michael Bay.
Oh, boo,
that's right.
boo, boo.
Yeah, that's right. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, I could talk shit on Michael Bay one more time. That's fine.
Which is a little bit more complex for me now since we recorded the last one because I've now rewatched Pearl Harbor.
I was just about to bring that up.
That's a shit film, but God, if you get to the halfway mark,
the war scene is pretty solid.
The man knows his craft.
Unironically, I have to give Michael Bay props.
You're goddamn right. He's a good filmmaker.
Let's not get carried away.
Yeah, well, I fucking...
Wait, no, he did do Transformers Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah, he did the fucking Rock. Don't talk to me.
I have not seen any of the Transformer movies. Somehow.
You're not missing much.
Yeah, no, you could skip 5 movies.
You missed your 12-year-old boy phase.
There is somehow certain iconic points in time where I just straight up was like, I'm not really sure that I want to see that, so then I just did it, and then the time passed where everybody was so fucking tits up, fucking coming all over that shit, you know. And
that.
You know who would love that? Michael Bay.
That's what I'm fucking talking about.
I need.
But yeah, no, me and Mick went to go see Ambulance earlier this year, and it was
a goddamn blast. I agree.
I canonically do not rate movies that low on Letterboxd. I think most of my ratings don't go below like a 3. Maybe there's like a 2.5. And somehow Ambulance was so bad to me that I had to give it like a 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so wrong of you to do.
No one ever let a drone ever near Michael Bay again.
You know,
Yeah, okay,
let him run
that's
wild
the
with
other
him.
thing, is
Let
that,
him run
like,
fucking wild
No,
with
he
him.
loves these fucking drone shots, and I'm just like, what was the point of that?
To have fun, and I had fun.
Ugh, gross.
It's not fun. It's just
so
so distracting.
It's not
a
fun for
blast.
me.
It's-
Jake Gyllenhaal going mad over the top. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. If you are a fan of 90s action thrillers, I think you'll
Which
enjoy
I am.
Ambulance.
I am a fan
Yeah,
of that.
well, Mick-
One of my favorite movies is Speed.
Yeah, well, you know.
I mean, come on. I mean, it's not. There's something about that movie just felt like, what is the point of this? Like,
Yeah.
it's not. It didn't have. I'm not trying to attack you. I'm not even trying to attack Michael Bay. There was something about that movie that just. Again, I've said it before. There is a thing where if I go to the bathroom in the middle of a movie at a theater, or if I check check the time, that's a sign that it's not good, because I always hold myself to, I have to sit through this the whole time and experience everything. And I went to the bathroom and I checked the time on that. I'm like, oh, what the hell? Why, Michael? I know you can do better. I've seen better.
I said not even drugs could make this film more interesting between the unmotivated camera movements, simpering emotional score underneath scenes lacking emotion, and a plot that defies logic in a disappointing fashion.
Wow, that's two of those things for me describe the movie we're about to talk about.
Oh, there
Which
you
is
go.
so funny
Fair game.
because I don't agree on this.
Oh
so
my god.
We're on two sides of a different coin.
Will we ever heal this
Heads and
divided
tails.
nation? God,
The
Mick,
crevice that Luhrmann and Michael Bay have created between the two podcasts.
which is funny because they're both like extremely like excessive filmmakers.
Yeah.
They
Like,
are. They
are both
deal in
If
excess.
you're gonna
loud
have like
in
differing
your
opinions, this
face.
is definitely the two to have differing opinions about.
Yeah. Mick, do you have anybody? Because I'd like to try to think of someone who's not Baz Luhrmann. Because I'm gonna rag on Baz Luhrmann when we talk about our movie.
Yeah, but you haven't even seen all of his movies.
Yeah.
Why would I watch all of the movies of someone whose movies I don't like?
Because you love me.
She's got you there.
God damn, friendship is a powerful motivator.
is.
That's true.
Oh, well, you know who's somebody who I see as the bad version of Michael Bay. Zack Snyder.
Yeah. I think
What
that was
has
your
he
answer
done?
in the last one.
Zack Snyder did Justice League, Batman vs. Superman,
300.
Watchmen 300.
Army of the Dead.
Yeah, Army of the Dead I actually enjoyed. I feel like Zack Snyder is a dude who seems like, by all accounts, a very nice guy. So I don't want to rag on him too much as a person. But his movies are so self-serious and have this sense of, like, self-importance for movies that are very stupid and very long and very ugly and often, like, disconcertingly fascistic. Particularly 300 is, like, for my money, one of the most racist movies ever made.
And fascist.
Yeah.
It's a very fascist film.
Hordes of, like, basically inhuman Middle Eastern people fighting the Greeks who are portrayed as, like, beautiful, jacked white men. I don't know. It's,
That movie almost made me dislike fucking Gerard Butler. And I had
Almost.
been so in
Keyword
love
being
with Gerard
almost.
Butler because of fucking
Phantom of
The
the
Phantom
Opera.
of the Opera and Leap Year.
Leap Year.
Not
I've
familiar
seen
with
that.
Leap Year.
The Hilary Swank. It's like a romantic comedy.
Are you talking
he dies
about...
at the beginning?
No, that's P.S. I Love You.
P.S. I Love You.
Yeah,
okay.
which I have seen.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I love him in that movie. He's so
Probably
cute.
my
He's so
favorite interaction
sweet.
yet.
But you know what? I think what it is I don't like men that look like men. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. He was so ripped, and I was like, ugh.
Those are men that look like statues. Which,
Yeah.
like...
I'm not into it.
Yeah.
Plus,
Don't-
you know, like
don't
all
like
those
those greased
statues
up
from like,
beefcakes.
yeah, those beefcakes like that are like, you know, marble statues and stuff. They got really small You know?
He's ripped.
Well,
gotta
you
have a
know, in
small
ancient Greece, that was a sign of wisdom.
They had
Small
to
penises?
coin
Yeah.
it somehow.
Yeah, you're wise. I'm really wise because I have a small...
Yeah, no, that's a
Do you know how
great...
fucking wise I am?
It's all about rebranding, you know?
Yeah. I love it.
DreamWorks hasn't
Most
had a hit lately, and so they had to rebrand their small dick.
That's right.
Yeah,
Um, anything else about Zack Snyder?
No, I don't want to waste too much time on him because there's been so much fucking discussion of him on the internet, and it's a good it's a good way to make your life fucking miserable because there's a whole lot
I don't actually
of weird
love
dudes
being
on the
super
internet.
negative about anybody. Like
Well-
that's why whenever we talk about any actors or anything like that, I'm never oh, I think this is trash, terrible.
Right. And it should be stated, this is something we all agree on, is that making movies is incredibly hard.
It is really
As Jake
fucking hard,
Gyllenhaal
yeah.
said, it is a miracle if you can make a movie.
Yes.
Like end of sentence. And it is a lightning strike if you can actually make a movie that's good.
Yeah.
So we understand how difficult it is to make a film at all. So that's why, for my choice of a director who grinds my gears, it's because I know they have the potential in them to be great. I just think they need a little bit more push with them, and that's Christopher Nolan. That's a director that grinds my gears. Not like anytime a movie comes out, I'm rolling my eyes and stomping my feet. I know he has the potential to make great films because we've watched them.
Yeah.
We've seen them, and it's been talked about again and again and again and again. But I will agree with you, Zach, and I've heard other people say this too, is that what he needs is a writing partner again.
Yeah.
A lot of times when I watch a new Nolan film, I thought that's a great idea and a really, really noble execution, but I just wish it was I just wish it had a linear story. I really wish. I think that's a big problem for me, and I know he's all about playing with time, and that kind of bothered me with Dunkirk when I first saw it. The more I watch it, the more I actually really, really, really like that film.
Yeah.
But Tenet, it was so frustrating to watch. I think that could have been a great film, but god damn it, it was just I couldn't understand the damn thing.
Yeah.
The Prestige is fantastic. The Dark Knight, we all know about that. But I'm super excited / terrified to watch Oppenheimer. Terrified because I hope I get what I want from it, but also terrified because of the subject matter and how that whole topic terrifies me. And I think he will do a great job.
Yeah, what
and I
movie-
think that about every time he announces his next film, like, oh, Nolan will nail that. And then it comes out, and I'm like, fuck.
What movie?
So
oh,
close.
It was when we were watching Chernobyl and we were
Yeah.
talking about why did we ever do this? Why did we ever start messing
Oh,
with this
nuclear
shit?
power.
Yeah.
Yeah, Interstellar too. I don't jive with that.
See, I
It has
like Interstellar quite a bit.
It has some great stuff in it, but I don't know. It frustrates me. I'm like, come on, Nolan. I know you can make a goddamn masterpiece.
Oh, yeah.
He's so close each
That's just-
time.
I would say that one of the things that bothers me a lot about a movie is when it falls apart a little in the third
Yeah.
act, when they just can't bring it home.
They can't stick the
make
landing.
the storylines fit together at the end, or they can't it's no longer cohesive. Whatever they were building up to, it's either your movie needed to be longer, which usually it shouldn't be any fucking longer than it already is, or maybe you needed to cut an element of something from before to fucking make this all work out.
Just the old thing. You just need another pass at the script.
Yeah.
Just a few more passes
Yeah.
before you put it
Get
into
somebody
production.
else's eyes on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my answer for directors who grind my gears, is a director that most people say is one of the best living today.
For me, sometimes the best directors aren't even ones where you think, oh my god, they're so incredibly good at something. It's directors that work really well with their entire team, so the movie itself is really cohesive, with the production and the costume design and
I fucking saw that. You're not fucking sneaking that by me.
I wish I could say I was telling a joke, but
I wish that you could say that too. Mick just mouthed the name Baz Luhrmann. Which
if we're done with ragging on directors, I could just move into.
I'm not.
Okay, all right. Who else you got on your topic here?
Baz Luhrmann
Great.
And now here we are.
at the
This is our segue, anyways.
at the film that we're discussing, which is the 2022 film Elvis, starring Austin Butler and Tom Hanks, directed by Mr. Baz Luhrmann himself.
Yeah, Olivia.
He's
DeShawn,
Irish.
Dacre Montgomery, if you all know him from Stranger Things, he was Billy. We know Mick likes that.
Like what? Sorry, what?
Billy from Stranger Things.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love him. Oh my god.
Ugh.
God, I
That
worked
was
on
a
a movie.
visceral reaction.
I worked on a movie where we had a lifeguard on set. I was like, oh, please be him. Please be him. Please be the actor that played his lifeguard once on a TV show. Let it be him. Can we try something and maybe make it a thing going forward? We've done it a few times, but anytime we bring up a movie that we're going to do a solid review of, let's read the synopsis of it and then go into it.
Go for it.
Would that be okay?
That sounds
Go
great.
for it.
Okay, so Elvis, directed by Baz Luhrmann, what year is it? 2022? 2022 movie.
This year.
From his rise to fame to his unprecedented superstardom, rock and roll icon Elvis Presley maintains a complicated relationship with his enigmatic manager, Colonel Tom Parker, over the course of 20 years. Central to Presley's journey and happiness is one of the most influential people in his life, Priscilla.
Which is funny because she doesn't seem central to this film fucking at all.
Yeah, that's a weird synopsis.
Yeah.
She's barely in this goddamn
And see,
movie.
that's why it's kind of fun to read the synopsis, because it's like, well, here's what they agree.
Yeah,
the
way
movie
to
is.
way to whiff it.
Now
Way to
let's
whiff it.
unpack it in our own way.
Yeah, so this has been a contentious film amongst the three of us for months and months and months.
It's been a contentious film amongst the one of us here.
It's been a fun ride because sometimes you can just set Zach off by having him come home after a hard day of work and we're just blasting the soundtrack.
Yeah, exhausts me.
Yeah,
Which
I
we
think
don't
after
do on
this,
purpose.
After this movie came out, well, no, I do it on purpose.
Oh,
I know, of course you do.
Mick might not, but I do. I think after the movie came out and I found out that Zach, hated it, basically, I was like, oh, this is gonna be so much fun. Because, after that, I don't know how many fucking gifs we were sending in our group chats between each other that were always fucking Elvis gifs.
See, I wish that I liked Ambulance as much as you guys disliked it, so I could pull the same bit, but, I simply enjoy it, as opposed to the, fiendish and quite honestly disturbing devotion you have to the film Elvis.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have this. Months have gone by. I've seen this movie so many times, and I don't think I have the same undying
Is the fever
devotion.
dream kind of going
I
away a
think
little
fever's
bit?
starting to break?
I think the fever dream has cleared a little bit. Yeah.
I have a new subgenre to add this film to,
Okay.
and that is worst films to watch with a fucking head cold.
That's not a subject.
Yes, it is.
Why? What would you even add to that list?
That could be any movie
Baz
to watch.
Luhrmann
Yeah.
movie.
Oh.
I'd also.
See, this is just a way for him to rag on Baz Luhrmann.
No, I would also add a film that I like, Uncut Gems, to that list because this movie has such a goddamn aggressive sound mix, and I think that it is detrimental to the film because
Don't
I
agree.
think that it kills most of the scenes of drama because there's just 80 different things blasting on the soundtrack in the quiet scenes, in the loud scenes. I'm sorry, there are no quiet scenes. Every scene is a loud scene.
No,
That's
they're
not
quiet.
true. There are quiet
Absolutely
scenes.
true.
It's
There
not
are
true.
no quiet scenes. I watched this movie
When him
yesterday.
and Priscilla break up, that is
Yeah,
quiet.
that is a quiet scene.
Yeah.
And when he's
but it's
crying in
still
the
played
closet,
at the
that's a
same
quiet
level
scene.
of emotional intensity as every single other scene.
And when he talks about how
so
Martin Luther
how are
King
you
Jr. always
supposed
spoke
to
the
break
truth.
up with the supposed love of your life
well,
quietly?
play that scene big. Play some of the other scenes with a little more emotional reservedness.
Priscilla Presley actually said that she really liked Austin Butler's portrayal of Elvis because he got how explosive his fucking tantrums kind of essentially were.
Well, the whole movie feels like a tantrum. The whole movie is played at an 11
Well, that's
makes
Baz
Just
Luhrmann's
Baz Luhrmann,
style.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, like, think
which
about
is
Moulin
exhausting.
Rouge. I love it. I like being exhausted after.
I'm not. Let's not say what you said about Baz Luhrmann.
Oh no!
Wait, what did she say about that?
I have a quote in my phone.
No more.
Don't use my own words against me.
Don't use the things that I said.
But yeah, I've realized after Elvis that if someone says they don't like Baz Luhrmann, that's a red flag for me.
Hey, how's it going?
That's a
fair.
red
I
flag.
don't
I'll wave it high.
I don't
'Cause
think
to
I
me
can
that
date
says-
somebody who like vehemently like hated Baz Luhrmann. I feel like we would just like maybe not understand each other on like a cellular level.
At the amoeba level.
That
Yeah,
might
the-
be true.
Yeah.
Basically, every single time I've watched this movie, which I've now watched this, I'd say 3.5 times.
Which, can I say really quickly? Props to you.
Yeah.
As someone who does not clearly like this film or its director, I got to give you credit for
Yeah.
revisiting it so many times.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to crack it, man.
Because
Like,
as
He's
someone
trying to-
who's seen it
he's trying to
7
crack
times,
that nut. Yeah.
I want
and you're
to.
allergic to nuts, so that's even more noble. What a brave man.
I'm trying. Listen, I'm
Send him
trying.
money.
Every time we come home and Zach's just like puffed up like a blueberry.
I know.
I'm trying to get off with you guys. It's not getting me off. It's just rubbing and
All up
rubbing
in that
and rubbing.
nut and cracking it.
God.
No, but I have had the, and I don't want to. Again, we discussed previously about not wanting to rag too much on directors or
Yeah, you're not doing a great
films.
job yet.
So I'm gonna try to cut my complaints off fairly soon and let you guys kind of jam on Elvis for a bit, because I know you guys love this movie and I want to hear you guys talk about it. But I've had the same experience watching this movie every single time, which is I enjoy myself until I'd say right around Elvis's performance of Trouble, maybe a little bit before, and then I start to get exhausted and the just like concussiveness.
That's the stadium concert
Yes.
with a segregated audience. right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. The like constant flashes to newspaper articles spinning onto the screen, which is a staple of music biopics that I fucking hate. It just starts to wear me thin. And then I get to the point where he arrives in Vegas to end his partnership with Colonel Tom Parker. And I'm like, oh, okay. So this movie's just about done, right? And then I check the runtime,
Nope.
and I'm like, there's an hour? There's an hour! And then I'm pretty much in a bad place until the end.
Well, the original name of this movie was called The Hours, but that was already taken.
Yeah, I know. What to do with the hours. The hours after watching Elvis. Here's a hint, there won't be many of them because it's so fucking long. But please, what do you two enjoy about it?
I don't know, I thought it was okay. Take it away, Alexis.
Oh shit. I mean, what don't I fucking enjoy about Baz Luhrmann movies? I think everything that people hate about it, I just love about it because I'm like, oh, it's excessive. It almost doesn't make sense, and I kind of love that about it. But like not in the same way that like Ambulance didn't make sense, where I was like, why do I fucking care about these fucking people?
Right.
You know, I cared. I cared what fucking happened to Elvis. The movie made him more human for me, because up until that point, I don't really think that I had like a great relationship with the iconography of Elvis Presley. Like, I didn't grow up listening to his music at home. I grew up listening to Motown and listening to the Supremes. We fucking love Diana Ross,
Wind, and
you know.
Fire.
Yeah, you know, like I definitely, nobody was like, oh my God, Elvis Presley's like the man, the king of rock. And nobody thought that way in like my family. So I probably, and I'm not black, so I don't have the complicated feelings that the black community has about Elvis Presley and him, you know, appropriating their music and profiting off of it. And I do agree, like, you know, some of the people that I've talked about it with, they're like, I just don't really want to watch it or, you know, whatever. I didn't like it because, you know, of what he represents. And I'm like, you know what, that's a fair assumption, which is probably why I disagree the most with Zach, because Zach's thing isn't about that at all. Zach's is just, I just don't like the movie.
I mean, that's also bad, but yeah, it's not my biggest problem.
Yeah, it's not your biggest problem with it. If that were your biggest problem with it, that would probably soothe the burn a little bit more.
No, that's secondary to that. I think the movie sucks and it's bad.
Yeah,
It's secondary to it's so loud.
Quiet
and I
down.
So I watched this movie so many times in theater because I knew that once it was out of theater, I wasn't gonna have a fucking sound system to fucking play this movie at its height. And I think that is kind of representative of a lot of like Baz Luhrmann's movies, except for maybe like Australia. Every single movie, like Moulin Rouge and Romeo and Juliet and fucking The Great Gatsby and Elvis, you know, you really want to have that nice fucking full-on surround sound, like Atmos fucking
It's
experience.
an immersive experience to watch a Baz Luhrmann film.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the music in it. I can't say that I was an Elvis fan until I watched this movie, and then afterwards I was in a fucking fevered frenzy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's what I like about Baz Luhrmann. Before Elvis came out, I said that my favorite Luhrmann film was Gatsby, which has changed. I think it's probably a tie now between Elvis and Moulin Rouge. But something I like about him is, you know what? I get it, folks. If you don't like his style, I understand why. I see you, but it's not for everybody.
It's abrasive.
It's abrasive.
Yeah.
It is an acquired taste, but there's this such voracious consumption of the content he's putting forward. He has his cake and he eats it too. It's such a distinctive style. I've always said that a Baz Luhrmann film is a lot like a giant musical stage production that's being put on at the high seas, because everything's rocking back and forth and everything's so kinetic. There's so much movement.
He found his way back to the goddamn
I always
water.
will, buddy.
He found his way back to
always
an
will.
aquatic metaphor somehow.
He just rides that wave until he finds it.
That's true. But I mean, it's why I just love it. It's so distinctive. He definitely has created and cultivated a film language that is very much his.
Oh, for sure.
I can't really think of another director that has a style that I would ever confuse with Baz Luhrmann.
Oh.
See, this is where I want to get into something.
Oh, I just want, as a quick side note, to me, the relationship that Baz Luhrmann has with his wife, Catherine Martin, is a very, very important relationship. As important as I would say that Scorsese's was with Thelma Schumacher, his editor, you know? And this is what I'm talking about, is like directors who are so in sync, like take for instance like Nolan and fucking Hoytema, right?
Hoyte van Hoytema.
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay. You know, just like those cultivated relationships where it's like, oh, when those two are together, they make magic.
They click.
You know, they click. Yeah.
So I would say that the filmmakers who I would compare Baz Luhrmann to, and who I have seen Baz Luhrmann compared to, are the Wachowskis. And that always kind of sticks in my craw, because I
don't agree.
I love the Wachowskis.
It's different.
I don't agree with that. What is their reasoning behind that?
What's the correlation?
How much late career Wachowski stuff have you guys seen?
To be fair, not a lot.
Have you seen Speed Racer?
I've seen Speed. I saw it in theaters.
See,
I saw it in theaters.
That's another movie that I think is, you know, a sensory overload.
Yeah.
Largely, you know, enjoys its excess, but I think I don't know, it works for me. I think maybe part of it is that it's, you know, a kid's film and is intentionally kind of trying to translate, like, the feeling of that. Is Speed Racer an anime? It's an anime, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's originally an anime.
Yeah, trying to translate that faithfully to a live-action context, and I think it's just, like, so exciting to watch.
That's why I want to watch it, is because a lot of people say it's the best way to do an anime live action.
Yeah, it's
you
spectacular.
To that.
But I don't know. I think they have just like a better sense of emotional truth and trust in their audience than Baz Luhrmann. Like, there are so many times in Elvis where he will literally spell out on a sign on the screen what you are supposed to be feeling about a person, and it drives me nuts. It drives me up the wall.
Can you give an example?
Yeah.
Tom Parker was a liar, a cheat. Like there's
That's
something.
not telling you to
there's
feel.
there's something else where he's walking through the casino and it like spells out something about him. Like it happens multiple times in the movie.
Don't you think that's just providing context?
No, I think it's a
I don't
lack
think
of
it's
trust
telling
in
me
your
what to
audience
feel.
because the visuals are so busy. You think they're not going to get it.
I think that one of the reasons why he chooses to do that is because, like, Elvis is, in many ways, the first contemporary rock star as we understand
he
them
was.
today.
Yeah.
Because he's the first one to have that kind of, like, paparazzi kind of thing going on. And so I think that that's... I mean, not that I'm saying that, like, it's my favorite thing that he does throughout the movie is all these fucking newspapers, but I think the reason why he uses the newspapers so much is because they play a very big part of Elvis's experience throughout his life. And even after his death, the speculation on why he had a downfall, which is the Colonel.
Yeah.
So I think that beginning of doing that is just kind of plays into the overall
You
like,
can
theme.
follow
But I
the
think
thread
you
of
could
his
say
life
that
in
of
the
any
headlines.
rock star, and I think
Yeah,
you
but-
do that in
but it's-
many movies about rock stars.
but
It's
it's
exhausting and
still-
it's lazy.
It's not lazy.
It is so lazy.
Okay,
Do something
because
else.
specifically, the Colonel, his purpose throughout this story, which I don't love Tom Hanks's performance. I kind of fucking hate it a little bit. And
Disagree.
I have
first-
complicated
the
feelings.
first time I watched it, I thought his, accent was so distracting that I was like, is this bad? I can't even tell. And then the more I
You
watched it, the
lost.
more I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I could take it for the rest of the movie, But the whole point of him is to be an unreliable narrator because he's telling you the story as it is from his point of view. But so you have that theme at the beginning where it's like Colonel Parker was a liar, he was a cheat, and then he's saying, no, none of that's true. Listen to me. And so he sets himself up as an unreliable narrator so that you, as the audience, have to pay more attention to like the story as it's being performed on screen because you need to decide whether or not like that's true because he's clearly saying it's not. So I don't think that specifically his use of the liar and cheat at the beginning was lazy necessarily, but you can have that opinion. You're free to have your opinions.
I think it happens multiple times. There's the bit where the Hollywood sign turns into the words television.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I understand that we're about to do a television sequence. I
Yeah.
don't need it, Baz. I don't need it.
But you don't know.
You don't need to literally spell it out for me.
Yeah.
I also appreciated that Mick and I are both fighting very hard not to do the Tom Hanks voice.
Oh, yeah, we're doing good so far.
Yeah, we haven't done it.
Let's keep it
This
going.
episode is so different from the episode that we did the last time we covered this because that fucking accent was all over that
Yeah,
shit.
we did a lot of Tom Parker impressions.
Yeah.
I think part of it is that I'm sick. I think that,
that's fair.
I feel lost.
Go ahead, Mick.
No,
What's up?
actually, I don't want to say it. I changed my mind.
Okay. Okay. One of the things that I always love in a Baz Luhrmann movie, and I do actually love this in other movies when it is done right, but it is like in Tar, where they basically tell you this is what's going to happen to this character.
Oh, yeah.
What they say right here or what they're doing right here in this moment at the very beginning, this is exactly what is going to happen to this character. And we have that moment at the fucking carnival where you see the Colonel Parker looking at Elvis, and then in the distance you get a rack focus to imagery of a geek, which
I also really enjoyed that. That's a great shot.
yeah. So there's like elements, of Luhrmann stuff that
Listen,
it's
I don't
fun,
think he's a hack. He's not for
Yeah.
me, but like,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's doing the most.
Yeah, no, he is doing the
And
most.
so for our listeners who don't know what a geek is,
Yes. So basically, if you want to actually like explore this in depth, you can watch Nightmare Alley.
Guillermo del Toro picture.
Or
Yeah.
the 1940s original.
Okay, yeah, sure.
But start with the Guillermo del Toro one.
Yeah, it's got Bradley Cooper. Is Kate
Kate Blanchett's
Kate
in
Blanchett
that.
is actually
sure
in that.
is.
Yeah.
It all comes back to Elvis.
So basically, a carnival geek would be somebody usually like someone homeless or, like one of those train riders back in the day. They would need a job, and basically the owner of the carnival would pretty much trick them into taking opium and make them so addicted that they no longer wanted to leave and were willing to do things that no fucking man should have to do, like bite off the head of a live chicken. So basically,
That's how
imagery,
we got Mick on the podcast.
Exactly. We
Yeah,
just kept
I am
doping him
their
up with
geek.
opium.
I am their geek.
Sorry to
now he's so-
confirm this on the air.
So addicted to us, he could never leave.
He's caught in a trap.
I can't walk out.
Sorry, continue with the geek imagery. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good. I'm enjoying this.
If it's Elvis, she doesn't mind this.
Yeah.
Look out, man! Come on.
So basically, when you see that imagery behind Elvis, you know that the Colonel is going to try to trick him into becoming his geek, his main attraction. And usually a geek would be somebody that doesn't really get the money or proceeds because they're basically just the property of this person, which you do see that kind of come true. I mean, to be fair, Elvis sure spent a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You
I
ever
would
been to
not have
Graceland?
one. I've not. I don't need to go.
It's crazy to me that
I don't need to go.
of the
I don't.
Look, I love the
people at
movie,
this
but not
table.
enough to go to Graceland.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was taken to Graceland one time, and it is like nuts.
I can enjoy the movie, but I don't need to fucking powwow around like basically iconography of white America.
Yeah, no, that's entirely.
get enough of that.
I like Elvis, but not like that.
Whatever the crowd you're picturing at Graceland, you're right.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm fucking sure.
Yeah.
But you have anything else to say about that? There's another moment where in the movie that Baz Luhrmann does the exact same thing, where him and Priscilla are like in a bedroom, and he's talking about how he's going to be getting rid of Colonel Tom Parker, and but I have to do it in person. I'm going to go see him. He's sick. And she's like, well, don't let him clip your wings. And he's like, of course not. I would never. And what's playing on the TV behind them, and you can totally miss this, like no matter how many times you fucking watch this. But it's a movie, and literally the line that is being said is, "We'll be gambling not for money, but for your life," and that
I wonder if
literally
that's Goldfinger. No, maybe not.
it looks like an older movie, kind of. Yeah.
Could be.
Well, obviously,
That
because
sounds
That
good.
sounds
took place in the
that
70s,
sounds
so.
like it's from a Bond movie.
Yeah, it could be. So they play that, and that is exactly what fucking happens, is that Colonel Parker gambles with Elvis's life, not his money.
Yeah.
I'd like to get into why we've included this as sort of our bridge between Period Piece Palooza and our holiday month. And that is the extensive
Christmas scene?
Christmas sequence.
I was so confused when I first saw this. Like, I was like, why is he in a Christmas sweater? What is happening right now?
There's a solid 20 minutes of this movie that I very much enjoy. Now, having seen it 3 times, the thing that I have found to solidly appreciate is the 68 comeback special.
Oh, yeah.
That is such a entertaining, oftentimes very funny sequence that ends with a big emotional punch that then does, for me, once again, get fucked up by the introduction of a bunch of goddamn covers of magazines, but has such a great performance of If I Can Dream.
Yeah.
It's such a fun sequence, so please.
There are many moments where this movie falls very flat for me with its fucking virtue signaling of like Elvis being this like profoundly like
Martin Luther King.
anti-racist kind of
He always
person
spoke
that
the
he
truth.
was not, like I'm
Wah, wah.
yeah, like that I said that in my fucking review was that If I Can Dream, just that performance perfectly kind of says probably more of his feelings than any of the fucking bullshit that he says like along the way throughout the
Dr.
movie.
King, he always spoke the truth.
Well, sorry to take it away from the comeback, so really quickly, something that bothers me about it is again, the scene where he's on the fire escape with BB King, and he's like, oh, I gotta stop doing the wiggles. They say they're gonna arrest me and lock me up. And BB King looks at him, rightfully so, going, "Are you serious, dude?
You're a famous white boy.
You're a white man. Like, I could get arrested for jaywalking.
Walking across the street.
You do whatever the hell you want."
Yeah.
And it cuts to a close-up of Elvis going, "Huh. Yeah."
And then in the next sequence, he gets arrested.
Yeah, it's... I just that scene where it's like, it's BB King's being like, dude.
Yeah.
Take it from me.
Yeah.
You have white privilege up the ass.
Yeah.
And his response to that is, yeah, I do. And I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
And to me, that just kind of undercuts a lot of like how he's supposed to be. He's friends with all these people, and he loves the black community and all this kind of stuff. And he was such a socially minded person, like how they in the movie portray him as having written the "If I Can Dream" song, which is not true.
No, it's not true.
But I mean, I got to be fair. I love this movie, but there are scenes where I roll my eyes.
Yeah,
you take the bad with it.
Okay, just 1 second.
Go for it.
That is, if anything, my biggest issue with Baz Luhrmann. In almost any movie that he decides that he's going to make some sort of a commentary on social stuff, I'm always like, ooh.
This is why...
Maybe
stay in your wheelhouse. Stick to ballroom dancing.
This is largely why I think that Moulin Rouge is my favorite movie of his.
Because there's none of that in there.
I think that
takes place in Paris. What do you want?
I think that the content matches the form.
Yeah.
I made a note that it's honestly a really cynical trick to skate over Elvis's history of stealing from black musicians by showing every single black person he meets as being adoring of him. They, don't even slightly address the issue around him just straight up stealing Hound Dog from Big Mama Thornton, who received like $500 for that song from him. That
is essentially the landscape of the music scene back then, is that it's just fucked up.
Yeah. And, I see where they were coming from in the sense of going, well, look, he grew up in a black part of town because him and his family growing up was poor. So you can make that connection of the reason he covered that music was because that's what he grew up. That was his music that he was around. That is why he covers those songs, is because that's what he heard.
It's also what made him very, very popular.
Exactly. But in that is also the problematic part of it, which is... like...
It does touch on the funniest scene, one of the funniest scenes in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
Sam Phillips, he makes those colored records. Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
He's white.
Isn't that the same guy who fucking Johnny Cash was on his record label for a while?
Yes.
He?
Yeah. Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis were all on
like
his
all those
label.
white men.
Yeah.
But,
it makes the colored records.
But as I understand it, Elvis was first, though, right?
Yes. Yeah. Elvis was
because even in Walk the Line, Elvis had already been on the circuit of like traveling around for tours before Johnny Cash came on. So.
Yeah, who of those white men from the 50s making rock music? Yeah. That's the one who I have the most connection to growing up.
I also I enjoy the idea that might just exist in my head, but Baz Luhrmann took a look at the Elvis story and was like, all right, look, I'll agree there's a bit of problematic here with the black community, but I'm going to do my best to dive into it and try to unpack it and maybe set the record straight. Okay, so what about his 13-year-old girlfriend? I'm just not going to bring that up. He attempts...
Is he Irish?
Oh, he must be.
Way to get... Yeah, that's a good Irish accent. Yeah,
nice.
Good callback.
But yeah, no, I find it interesting that, they attempt to unpack the issue of how he stole black music, but when it came to the other issue of...
They were like, he
likes minors.
Let's ride the wave over that one.
Let's just cast a 28-year-old woman And we won't say anything.
Yeah. They say a pretty teenage daughter of a U.S. Air Force officer.
What was that last thing? What was that descriptor you just said?
Oh, pretty teenage daughter.
Stenographer, read that back for the jury.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
Which is it's so ambiguous because she could be 18, she could be 16, or she could be 14, like how she actually fucking was.
You know, this is another reason why Johnny Cash is the best one of those dudes, because he's the only one who didn't date a minor.
Well,
He set a high bar.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
you know, between Elvis...
White men in music really set the bar high for everyone.
Just
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah, I'm just talking about that cohort of guys. You know, between Elvis marrying a 14-year-old, Jerry Lee Lewis marrying his 13-year-old cousin,
yeah.
and Johnny Cash marrying an adult woman and cheating on her. I guess we gotta go with Johnny
What a nice
Cash.
guy. Wow. Look at him. So mature.
White men setting the bar real high since the dawn of time.
Good job, white guys.
Yeah.
And I'm surrounded by them.
Hey, how's it going? So Christmas.
Christmas, a
There's
time
a-
that's near and dear to our hearts.
There's a Christmas sequence in this film that we were talking about,
Oh yeah,
and then we kind of got on a tangent.
well, that's our
That's
secret
our thing.
sauce.
That's
That's
our
our brand.
brand.
We get distracted.
Yeah, so the 68 comeback special sequence, there are so many spectacularly funny moments because, as I understand it, the 68 comeback special was supposed to be a Christmas special that is largely it's like sponsored by a
Sponsored
Like
by
an appliance company.
Yeah.
by an appliance company. And there are so many moments of Colonel Tom Parker bringing in the ad men being like, this is where he will sing the Santa Claus song. And then he just straight up doesn't do it.
Yeah.
He's like, this has nothing to do with Christmas. And it is
Yeah.
so goddamn
I love how he slowly becomes the abominable snowman. It's fantastic.
He's all Priscilla's quite the homemaker.
I know.
Yeah, so funnily enough, that sequence is not true. The 68 comeback special was never meant to necessarily be like a Christmas special. So that is added for the zhuzh of the movie, which is so funny because there's definitely things in this movie that I know Zach does not like that were added to give it more zhuzh, but for some reason he fucking loves the Christmas special part
Well,
of
that's
it.
so innocuous, and it's funny.
It is funny.
What does that hurt? Nothing.
That's fair.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
this won't be in the special. Make a note, that'll be in the special.
Yeah. I love Dacre Montgomery in this. He's great.
He's really good.
Yeah. As Steve Binder, the guy who puts on the Christmas special and essentially like directs it. What else am I thinking of though? Oh, the fucking so one of my favorite sequences is definitely the Trouble song because I really like that song and I like the way that they kind of modernized it. But also, that is zhuzhed up for the screen
of
because
course.
there was no fucking segregation fucking meeting going on like right next door. And he's not, he actually was not like all fucking like rock and roll rebel in that moment either.
Getting
like
on all fours and like.
well, not even just that. Like he actually, it was pretty mild compared to what Baz Luhrmann makes it. But that is Baz Luhrmann's secret sauce. Nothing
No, it
is
is.
mild. Nothing is
Nothing
mild.
is.
Yeah.
That's you don't come to a Baz Luhrmann film to
hear the truth.
To witness the truth or subtlety.
I mean, to me, so Baz Luhrmann's whole thing is what truth, beauty, freedom, and love, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's like truth as he believes it to be at its core,
Right.
which is that, like, you know,
So not the truth.
Not the truth,
but
but what Baz decides
the
is the
essence
truth.
of truth.
yeah, like what we are like down at our hearts,
Yeah.
you know, like what, and to him, I think for the movie, what Elvis was somebody with a very big dream.
Right. And, that's what I want to bring back to when, Zach, you talk about how there are a lot of scenes that are undercut and it doesn't really allow you to feel the drama. It doesn't really allow you to feel anything.
Yes.
Other than irritation.
Yeah.
That's what I find so astounding, just for me personally, because with Baz Luhrmann movies, I always feel so much. That's why I go and watch his films, is because I know I'm probably going to cry in this. I'm going to be swept away by the moment of it. And that's why I love it. That's why I keep going back, you know?
Yeah, for the first 5 times I watched this movie, I bawled like a fucking child.
Yeah, and maybe that's, I'm generally an optimistic person, and I would think that, Baz Luhrmann is not a nihilist. He's not a cynical person by any means. He's very much hopes and dreams and reach for the sky and stuff like that, which I think that has its place, and I think he does that very well. I mean, that's why I love Moulin Rouge so much, is because it's such an unbridled, unapologetic love story. There's so much romance in it, and I think I would say not necessarily the same for Elvis, but there's such an unbridled passion for it. There's such a love for the story he's telling, even if obviously he's pulling a lot of legs here and he's fudging the truth, but you can tell that he set out to tell a story that he truly loves.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like epic romances of the 21st century that I immediately think about like over Baz Luhrmann's.
In terms of like Moulin Rouge.
In terms of like Moulin Rouge, even Elvis, Romeo and Juliet's in the 90s. But like his movies, just like every time I see them, despite being now weathered by life, it still kind of incites this like naive kind of joy that romance used to when I was younger, you know? And so I think it's a testament to maybe the truth of what he's portraying with love, that those still to this day kind of hit me where it hurts, So
I'm with you.
Yeah, I will say that in favor of this film, I think there are a lot of musical biopics that seem to come from a pretty cynical corporate place of like, oh, this is a recognizable person who people will go and see a movie about.
Yeah.
And Elvis, watching that movie, I do genuinely believe that Baz Luhrmann cares about his subject
matter. He wanted this was going to be his next film.
Yes. I don't like it, but I can respect it.
Well, that's what's fun about this is that, I mean, Alexis, you've talked about, you've mentioned this to many people and they say, oh, I don't like Elvis.
Yeah.
I've talked to a bunch of people and say, oh, I love Elvis. Mm-hmm. It's a divisive picture, and that's kind of exciting. I don't know if we've covered that many divisive films on this podcast yet.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. I think that's kind of part of the fun of it, discussing it, Because half the people listening to this are going to be like, what the hell are Mick and Alexis going on about? And the other half are going to be like, Zach, stop talking. Get back to the Baz Luhrmann dick sucking.
Another thing, too, though.
Yeah, they're going to say that specifically.
Is that, like, what Baz Luhrmann gets right is representing men without traditional masculinity, even though Elvis is supposedly this representative of what like true masculinity was to a lot of people. My dad was very upset at the portrayal of Elvis because he thought that they made him look like a sissy. And I was like, well, fuck, I want to fuck that sissy, so I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I thought that me and my sister both agreed that shit was hot. Like, him in that fucking lace shirt and the pink suit, I was like, oh, absolutely, 100%. I would get down on my knees for that.
This movie made me buy a lace shirt that looks exactly like the one he has. That's how much I loved it.
Mick was influenced.
I was influenced.
Yeah.
Yep.
But just in general, like, Baz Luhrmann gets what the girlies want, as far as, like, men go, that they're not, like, hard and, like, unfeeling,
Greasy hair, girly makeup.
Also, I mentioned this in our last Elvis episode, so it bears repeating. That sequence at the Louisiana Hayride
amazing.
Is basically ripped straight out of one of my favorite films of the 21st, or one of my favorite comedies of the 21st century.
Spotlight?
Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox Story. There's a scene, it's a parody of a lot of music biopics, but is drawing a lot of influence from Walk the Line.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where Dewey performs with his, like, high school band, and the crowd like flips out and starts like gyrating and like just straight up having sex in the crowd
Yeah.
and beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like Baz Luhrmann has to have seen it because that scene has
I don't
so
know.
much of that energy and is played in a way that is funny.
I would not be surprised if he hasn't seen it and he just on his own got to that idea of this audience is going to rip each other apart. They're practically ripping off their own clothes.
I think because like he understands like in Moulin Rouge, the opening sequence where they're doing the can, the energy is just voracious.
Yeah.
And that being involved with music and dancing in a way that, is exciting for people really makes them horny, So he's always understood that.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. There's just something about the staging of it that reminds me
Oh,
so
yeah, for
heavily
sure.
of that.
Definitely.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's a biopic, of course.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
But-
every single one of these
but-
things is the same.
I think what you're speaking to, you pretty much said it, is how he is, you said the word modernizing. Obviously audiences back in the 50s did not act that way, obviously. But if you portrayed it accurately, it would have fallen flat. Because what we do when we go to concerts these days is what is portrayed in Elvis. We lose our shit. We're reaching for the guitarist. We're reaching for Matty Healy.
This is what I forgot to mention in What's Going On, but I'm so glad that it got brought up.
Yeah.
Here we
because
go.
I went to see the 1975 last night, and I was a little nervous because, hashtag fake fan right here, because I do not really listen to the 1975. I've heard some of their music over time, and I'm like, oh yeah, I really like that song, but I've never really listened to full albums. But one of their songs has been trending on TikTok, and I was like, oh, you know what? They're gonna be here in a couple weeks. I should buy a ticket. Why the fuck not, right? And then Matty Healy started bringing fans up on the stage and like kissing them in the last week. And the internet has just become like this feeding frenzy of
Everyone's talking about it.
self-insert fan fiction, essentially. And
Be me.
I got right. I was even having like a little bit of a fantasy on my way to the concert.
Well, let's dig into that. Alexis having
Let's
a
unpack
fantasy?
this.
No.
That
This
seems
seems
weird.
so unlikely. The girl who has sexual awakenings in every 10 movies. Yeah, no, I got there and I definitely I'd had a bit to drink before I came to the concert because I was like, you know what, that seems right, that seems proper. And so then I got there and I was like, should I buy a ticket for tomorrow in San Francisco so that I can actually see this? Because I was more so upset because they actually had an excellent stage design. And I was on this side angle, so I couldn't actually see it from the front. So that was kind of upsetting. And I was like, I really, 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 really kind of want to see this fucking stage set up from the front. And also Matty Healy didn't bring a fan on stage. He just kissed his bassist, which I was like, well, at the very least, he knows what we want. So, but yeah, no, the whole idea of people going absolutely feral for a musical artist, I think that was portrayed well in Elvis, So, I understand it.
Can I quote you,
a deep
Alexis?
court. Sure.
So Alexis was texting me last night while she was at the concert, and she said something. No, this is not a joke. She said something that I thought actually was really profound, and this absolutely plays to Elvis. She says, if you think about life in a somewhat plain animalistic space, musicians occupy this flashy space in our subconsciousness as one who is spreading their feathers. No wonder people are attracted to the flamboyance. Now that, I think, could be Baz Luhrmann's pitch to the studio about how he's going to portray Elvis, because that's absolutely on point.
Yeah, he's a peacock.
Hey, man.
He's peacocking, and we love him for it. Literally, the
We
last
want to
shot,
see that cock. I mean,
the-
shit, peacock.
The last shot of
Yes.
with that dramatic music is Elvis, real footage of him going up with that cape, and he looks like a goddamn bird.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, say what you will about Elvis, but that man was a fucking entertainer. He had the fucking costumes and the attitude and everything for it.
Can we talk about costumes?
Yes. Oh my God, we've gotten to my favorite
Oh my
part.
god.
We're running pretty long, so let's...
What time are we at?
We're at almost an hour and a half.
Oh shit.
We'll make it quick.
Okay. Catherine Martin, Baz Luhrmann's wife, for the past I don't know, 20 or so, 25 years maybe. They've been working on things since Romeo and Juliet, and it's so clear, starting with Romeo and Juliet and then on to Moulin Rouge, that this is the partnership that he really fucking needed. Because she's incredibly talented, not because she just naturally is, but it's clear that she has a lot of dedication and does a lot of research into things. She partnered with Prada and Miu Miu for Priscilla's outfits. Because because if you take those outfits and you just recreate them, they look like fucking, outfits from the 60s, which are, they're great, they're iconic, but they're not going to have the same kind of oh my God, this woman looks so fucking good. I would wear that, which is exactly how people felt back then.
I really struggle with turquoise because my grandfather would always wear turquoise rings, and he was kind of a piece of shit. But, man, Elvis's turquoise white jumpsuit bell-bottom thing.
Yeah.
That must have been so fun for them to recreate that.
They actually
outfit.
got the guy who, because they went through all the Graceland archives, and they straight up rebuilt Graceland in Australia, I believe. So they took the fucking schematics of this house and they recreated it as it originally was, and then as time goes on, they switched a bunch of different things out, carpeting, wallpaper, so that you could see it as it grew. And then they also got, because they still have all of Elvis's original costumes. So she was able to look at those and research it, and she actually got in touch with the guy who used to fucking stitch together his outfits, and he helped to work on the recreations. Yeah. So
Catherine Martin, right?
Catherine Martin.
So something else she does, you probably brought it up already, is that she's also the production designer as well. And
production, set design, costume design. Yeah.
And that is why I think the outfits fit so well with the space that they're surrounded by, just in terms of color contrast and movement and stuff like that.
Because it's all one vision.
It's one mind.
Yeah.
It's so together. It's so tight.
Say what you will about the story itself, the set pieces, production design, and costume design are extremely cohesive.
Baz Luhrmann was talking recently about doing a cut of Elvis that's just a concert film. Mm-hmm. And I would be highly interested in that. Yeah. I think I would like it a lot more.
Yeah, it could definitely be fun. But yeah, no, and we didn't cover enough.
Okay. We've been talking for over an hour and a half. What do we need to cover,
movie.
Alexis?
There's so much to unpack.
Okay.
Quickly, maestro.
Okay. So one of the things that they did really well was the fucking Vegas penthouse that Elvis has. They have this beautiful, beautiful, full windowed wall kind of thing going on where you have this, exquisite shot of Las Vegas, which, honestly, Las Vegas is kind of shitty to look at, to be honest. So,
I don't like Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's whatever. But yeah, no, it looks really nice from the room. And when Elvis has finally kind of essentially given up on his dreams, after him and the Colonel have a run-in and he is backed into a corner, he comes back to this penthouse and he closes all of the curtains. And he goes and climbs into this little half circle couch that's in front of a wall of TVs, essentially. And to me, it is that is his tomb. And now that he has finally let go of the vision of his life, he's now closing himself off to the image of the horizon, which he was always looking at the image of the horizon because I just keep going forward. And at that moment, he closes himself to all of that and he climbs onto his perch into his cage. And I just thought that it was really well done, and in fact, Catherine Martin has said that that his room there was meant to look like a sarcophagus, a gilded cage. Yeah. So
he's caught in a trap.
He is caught in a trap.
He can't look out.
And that scene with Priscilla when they break up is still one of my favorites. Yeah. Because it's quiet. It's one of the more quiet moments of the movie, of which there are not a lot.
There's two, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
generously, there's two.
She's she's really angry at the beginning, and then as she goes on and she realizes that she's actually leaving this place, she kind of stops and she looks around and she asks him, "Do you know when's the last time we laughed together?" Yeah. You know?
I hate that line.
I love that line.
But love it at the same time, just because that is so real.
Yeah.
There's so much truth in that. And you know, when I first saw this movie, there were two scenes that didn't work for me. One I thought was kind of hilarious, and the other one I thought was just completely schlocky and over the top. Then when I found out more about the making of the film and then also about the story of Elvis, on a rewatch, these two scenes are really powerful for me at a dramatic level. The first one is when Elvis is crying in the closet and clutching the clothes of his
I really like
recently deceased mother.
Yeah.
I thought it was just kind of over the top when I first saw it, and when Colonel Tom Parker walks in and goes, "I will now provide everything."
I will be your mother now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Feed from my teat, boy.
But when something, if you don't know, I'm going to try to rope it back in here just for this moment. Austin Butler's mother actually passed away when he was like a young child.
The same age.
That's right.
As Elvis.
And so now that scene wrecks me because I know that I don't really think Austin Butler is having to act much. Like, because he's talked about how much he identified with Elvis when he really learned his story. And so now that scene really breaks my heart. And the other scene is when, also in regards to his mother, after she dies and him and his father sitting on the stoop, and his father is crying and he's crying, and there are all these pictures of the press is like, they're in his face taking pictures, and I just, this is just so over the top. Like, why are we watching this? I found out that actually happened.
It did, yeah.
They actually placed them on those front steps, and they just took their pictures of them crying.
So fucking invasive.
It's extremely invasive, and so it's another scene where I watch that now and I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah,
God damn, like poor Elvis.
You have to admit that as fucking awful as the Colonel was, he really fucking knew how to. He knew marketing at like a cellular level.
Yeah, he was the snowman.
He was the snowman.
He knew the art of the snow job.
I mean, that's a tragedy of this, is that I don't think Elvis would have gotten to where he got, to the level of stardom, if it wasn't for Tom Parker. I don't think it would have happened.
And in many ways,
that's so tragic.
I think that the reason why I can never say anything about people who just, don't like this movie, don't like Elvis because of the connection to the black community, I agree, because he wouldn't have gotten where he was if it weren't for his silence during that period.
Yeah.
So.
Well.
I think I've sucked the titty hard enough and long enough that we can be done with it.
Wait. I have one more quote.
Of course we have one more.
One more quote.
Everyone
just talk amongst yourselves.
I can't
walk out.
You can't.
Why can't you see what you're doing to me?
So this is a line from the film.
Because I love you too much.
It's the line is, Baz Luhrmann is always putting his dick fully out there, and I will suck it. Oh wait, no, that was Alexis Avitia.
I was hoping we'd get through this episode without relaying
that one. We brought it back. Up top.
You have to say that out of love. That was after her third viewing of Elvis.
In many
the
ways,
theater.
I am just like Baz Luhrmann. I'm just throwing things at a wall and seeing what sticks. And sometimes I'm like, "That's what stuck? Great." Gotta move on now.
You are selling yourself short. That's a good line. That's hilarious.
I honestly am kind of impressed with what I said during the 1975 concert, because I was blitzed, because I ate an edible before I got there too. I was tipsy and I was high and I was like, good God, I'm so into what's happening right now.
So if you don't know, Alexis is an exquisite writer, even when she's blasted out of her head. Maybe that's the little secret sauce.
You can find Alexis's blog on our link tree, which is posted on our socials. Now that we've, as Alexis so eloquently put it, milked the teat of Elvis dry, we are going to move on to our next holiday film next week, which is one that I am thrilled to talk about, and that is Shane Black's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It's a 2005 film starring Mr. Robert Downey Jr. and Mr. Val Kilmer. You can find it on Paramount Plus or Showtime. And if you can't find it on either of those, you can either rent it or try your local library. It might be there.
And part of the reason we're covering this film is because, yes, it's a Christmas movie.
Every Shane Black movie is a Christmas movie.
Watch it and you'll see why.
I've never seen this movie, so I'm very, very excited.
I've seen it once.
It's so fun. Yeah, so if you would like to find us on social media, you can check us out at Film Majors Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and now TikTok. If you'd like to shoot us some feedback, you can either leave us a comment on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or you can shoot us an email at filmmajorspod@gmail.com. Tell us what you think we're doing wrong. As Alexis has said many times, berate us.
Berate us, please. No one berates us.
Yeah, we haven't been berated in a good long while.
I feel like Edwin could take a crack at Mick for the jelly beans another time.
Yeah, take him down.
They already did, right?
Yeah, but not through the email.
I like it.
Oh, yeah.
I like the recurring theme.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Alrighty, everybody. Well, happy holidays, and we'll catch you next Friday.
Bye.
King has left the building.
Elvis is leaving the building.
All right.
Look out.